Hey everyone, I'm Ashley, and this week I will be doing my video about cognitive revolution, and this focuses on both the lecture and some aspects of it from the book. So first off, the revolution really started because psychologists weren't satisfied with behaviorism. Behaviorism had taken over for some time, and everyone was very focused on conditioning. And like I said, psychologists were dissatisfied, and these were just a few reasons from lecture and from the book that we talked about. Behaviorism wasn't explaining why distinctive behavior would sometimes take over learned behavior. It also didn't explain language development. There were a lot of questions from World War II that behaviorism couldn't answer. And it also took away any aspects of thought, imagery, volition, and attention. And yeah, there wasn't a lot of introspection at all. It was pretty much just whatever could be observed was what we talked about. And so George Miller was the one that started the cognitive revolution. Along with Bruner, they started a Center for Cognitive Studies at Harvard, so it definitely advanced from that. And then this is just a quote from the book. Ulrich Neisser defined cognition as all the processes by which sensory input is transformed, reduced, elaborated, stored, recovered, and used. And I'll talk more about Ulrich as we go on. Cognitive psychology also reflects a lot of Gestalt views. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of the psychologists that were influential to the revolution and added to cognitive psychology. So first there's Albert Bandura, and he created the social learning theory. And this theory was more in agreement with cognitive and social psychology. It talked about how learning didn't require reinforcement, and things learned were only acted on when it was needed. And the example in the book was like, drinking fountains exist, but you really only need them when you're thirsty. And this picture kind of explains more of the social learning theory, how you learn a lot through observation, and the mental states are important to learning. And like I said, learning does not necessarily lead to behavior change. The next we're going to talk about Ulrich Neisser. He was also considered a father of cognitive psychology. He talked a lot about perception, concept formation, meaning, language, and thinking. He also wrote Cognitive Psychology, which focused on information theory, which became a really big center of focus later. He also later wrote Cognition and Reality, which focused on the schema and how it guides behavior. And then just to end, some psychologists actually didn't see the cognitive revolution as a revolution. They talked about it actually being a counter-revolution because psychology returned to what it was before behaviorism. And some of the effects of the cognitive revolution, information processing became the main form of psychology by the 1970s. And researchers began to study, research, and experiment with the concepts of problem solving, memory, concept formation, perception, and language. And then these are just some of my references, just the lecture and the book.